Good afternoon, everyone. We'll be with you momentarily. I want to welcome everybody here to Normie Recertification Training. I am glad to see that everybody is here in the room and slowly starting to come in from our different platforms. Our admin people are here, which is always a good thing. And I'm just finishing up bringing up all of our platforms. So there we are. Well, welcome, everyone. Today is October 24th, 2023. Glad to see you all here in the room. Hello there, Tim, Jenner. Glad to see you in the room. I know Mike has been in a meeting, so I'm not quite sure when he's going to be here, but he will be here shortly. And glad everybody's here. So we have a bunch of people coming in the room already, and we have all of our other platforms up and running. And I just wanted to make sure we're all broadcasting on our radio platforms also. So welcome all. How you doing there, Tim?
Doing great, Lance. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Been a very, very busy day. One of those kind of things that, keeps happening. So we're going to get started here momentarily. I just wanted to, again, give Mike a second to see if he was going to be able to get into the room. If not, we're going to get started. Well, I will do an introduction as to what we're going to do, depending on Mike getting here. Mike had introduced me to one of our members that had an interest in doing podcasts. And we spoke, and I found it to be quite an interesting idea what he was doing. And the subject came up about interviewing me about Normie Connect, which is what's behind you up there on the screen. So we actually did that as a podcast. And the podcast has actually been up on our podcast platforms for about a week now. So some people have heard it. But I know a lot of people don't go to podcasts and would prefer consuming their media with video. So what we're going to do is play the actual recording of us recording our podcast. Yes, you like that? Here in the Normie Connect TV platform room, for continuing education training. Truthfully, the podcast was really well done as far as explaining what Normie Connect is, how it works, and where it came from. And that's what I wanted to put out there today. And I think it's just a perfect venue to use the recording for the podcast, which was video, as a video production. So there you go. If I explained that incorrectly, you're as confused as I am, but it all works out. So I guess we'll catch up with Mike later on. We're going to get started. And then at the end, I do have something special to talk about. It's kind of it's been kept secret under wraps, something new that we're launching as of today. And it'll be for our Normie members. So if you are watching and you're a Normie member on any of the social media platforms or the streaming TV or radio you're listening on, you're going to want to go to impact.normie.org for at least the end of the presentation so you can see what we're going to be unveiling for everybody. So I'll leave it up to you. This is probably about a 28 minute interview. And that'll give you some time if you want to switch over to the impact.normie.org segment and watch here in our Zoom room, and then you'll be able to take part in the, we'll call it the surprise at the end. All right, I'm going to ask all of our admin folks to shut down their video and audio. I'm going to do the same. Take me about a moment to bring up the presentation. And remember, this podcast, stay it for everybody that way. Please stand.
Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of our podcast. We're diving deep into the transformative world of healthy living, clean air, and the game-changing insight of Normie Connect. I'm Paul Lutwin, your host, and I couldn't be more excited to take you on this enlightening journey. And who better to guide us through it than the man who's been at the forefront of Normie since 2006, the Executive Vice President of Business Development, the one and only Lance Isaac. Welcome, Lance.
Thank you,
Good to have you
Paul.
today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So, first and foremost, tell us, what is Normie Connect?
Normie Connect is a concept that's come out of a lot of functions that we already have in place. We've already had a Normie TV channel. We do social media. we're really trying to reach out to the public and to the contractors. It's two-pronged that we do with our communications and keep them informed and up to date on indoor air quality. Recently, we've expanded what we've been doing with a lot of our media that we're broadcasting on TV. Actually, we've even added radio, which I guess we'll talk about in a little bit. And the whole concept behind Normie Connect is to connect with the contractors in the industry, connect with the public that have questions, that are looking for answers, how to deal with their personal problems, indoor air quality. So we're trying to put it all in one place under the one umbrella of Normie Connect. And we've had a very, very positive feedback so far since we've been doing this.
That's great. That's great. I know I've been around Normie for, quite some time, and I remember seeing some emails regarding Normie Connect. So is it brandy new, or tell me about that?
Well, we've been broadcasting on our TV platforms since 2018. We've had like 55,000 hours of broadcasting or watching or something. I mean, the numbers are gigantic with that. But we found that over time, people are busy. People can't stop and go watch a video, like the video on demand stuff. People don't just know to search for that. So we wanted to keep streaming in a free-flowing live format. But again, people are busy. So we look for other ways of reaching out to them. And we know that people like different platforms to watch their media on. Some people like YouTube, some like Twitch, some like to go to LinkedIn or Twitter. We're on all of it. And we did that for convenience of the viewers.
Yeah, I know. I noticed looking around on that, there was a ton of media types and platforms. So, but can you tell me why you're broadcasting on so many of those?
Well, and that's the whole thing. We want to be able to reach people in their comfort zone. Again, we go back to people that work and leave work at, let's say, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, drive time. Well, it's hard to watch a video while you're driving. Sometimes picking a podcast may not be exactly what you wanted to listen to. You wanted something that was newer or fresh. And that's why we came up with the radio concept, where we're broadcasting streaming audio on 3 different radio platforms. So we're trying to put the media out on all these different, I call them flavors that people would have a preference for: chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. Some people drive Chevy, some people drive Ford. It's their preference, and we're trying to reach out to make it easy, convenient, and enjoyable for everyone.
So having that broad range of Porsche drivers and Ford drivers and Chevy drivers, who is really your target audience that you're looking for?
2 pieces. No, let's back up. First of all, and we say this kidding, but it's really true. The only people that really need to worry about indoor air quality are people that breathe. It's a niche market, about 8 billion people across the planet. But the reality is, people don't pay attention to issues unless it becomes a personal issue for them. So we're reaching out to the contractors who are in the industry: mold remediation, mold assessment, home inspectors, air conditioning contractors. These are people that are every day dealing with indoor air quality problems, water drying companies, and there's a whole list of verticals. And the consumer, because the consumer, at least since the explosion of the internet, have become starved for information. And they want information that is correct and meaningful, not just people making claims. And that's where we try to keep the reality of indoor air quality, how it can affect them, why it's a problem. We do everything because of building science and the way things are constructed. And we try to reach and give them an understanding so they can improve their own situations, whether they need a contractor or not. And on the contractor side, we try to keep the contractors educated to a professional meaning level. We have our own professional practices that we talk about. We teach those in the 5 licensing states. And I say 5 because there's only 5 states that actually require licenses to do mold assessment and mold remediation work. And that's counting Washington, D.C. as a state. So we try to keep that higher standard, and we try to standardize everything across the industry.
Well, you
Again,
mentioned the
consumer and contractor.
You mentioned the public. This is important. But does the public have the exact same access as your Normie members do for this?
Almost all of it. The only difference is within, and I guess the best way to describe it is we have something called the Normie app, which you can get on Google Play side or on the iPhone side. And that app is kind of like the starting point for all of Normie Connect. You can go to our regular websites, normie.org and things like that. But if you go to the app itself, you have access to all of the different platforms we're talking about: radio, TV, podcasts, social media. It's all there for you. There's training that's there, and this is all open to the public. We have public service announcement broadcast. We actually have it running where we do training on hurricane awareness, flood awareness, what to do before, during, after. So that's out there for the public. The only part that's restricted is access into the Normie member section. So we do have stuff that is specific to Normie members. They're able to go to the app, and from the app, sign directly into the member area. But the general public, the contractors that are not Normie members, can access most of the stuff that's there, just not get into the member specific areas.
You know, it's great. That's great for the public and for the members. And hopefully all the members like myself, I'm just starting now getting into it and using it, and I really love what I see. What about initial feedback from members or some public viewers that's involved? Has it been good? What have you heard so far?
Oh, I mean, everybody that's been using it or that has heard about it gets very excited. And the reason for that is because now they're finding a single location they can go and get a lot of information. Do we have all the information that's out there? Absolutely not. There's no such thing. I mean, there's new stuff coming up every day, but we have access to a lot of the different information that comes out as it's happening. And we try to bring that information out as soon as possible. Actually, through Normie Connect, if you have the app, we're able to put out what they call push notifications. So anybody with the app, we can just do a notification and it will hit the app almost immediately, any place in the world. So if something new comes out that's really important or urgent, or some type of specialty training that just came about, we're able to notify people immediately of when a broadcast will be, when a new training is available, when some new legislation has just been released. Several years ago, I was working with, it was part of the legislative side in Texas when one of the large hurricanes devastated their area. And I was on the phone with the governor's office with one of his assistants while he was signing off on an executive order suspending licensing laws.
Wow.
Basically, as he signed it, the assistant said, okay, it has now been signed. All licensing laws are suspended. We put out a text notification, not through the app. We didn't have it at that time, through another platform, to our members that were following us by text. They immediately knew about this. That's the kind of stuff that we try to bring to the people within our organization, people that follow us under Normie Connect and all the other platforms.
So is that Normie app, is it, again, it's up in the Play Store and the App Store, but can the public download that as well, or is it just for members?
Absolutely. It's a free app. You know, there's no cost to it. It's something that we provide. If you go to either one of the app stores, Google or for iPhone, just search the word Normie, N-O-R-M-I, and it'll pop right up. You hit it, it loads, and you have access. We've even put training type games on there, you know, where you can go through little adventures about indoor air quality, whether you're a contractor or a homeowner, you know, just to make you think about the situations you could be facing.
Awesome. Now, I know with Normie, clean air and healthy living, it's a big part of it. How do you see the Normie Connect fit in with the already amazing Normie concept? How does that work?
The problem that we run into, along with I think everybody else out there, especially people using the internet for marketing, is reaching people, and reaching people in a meaningful way, not just throwing and spewing information at people, because people aren't going to retain it, but giving them a platform to go to where their comfort zone is met, where they can learn the way they need to learn. You know, whether they're a visual learner that needs to watch a video, or somebody else could just listen to a podcast or streaming audio from a presentation. two different ways of learning. You know, I myself am what's called a tactile learner. I like to touch and be involved directly with what I'm learning. Many people are like that. We try to give that to the public and the contractors with all the training that we do, and putting it on all these platforms gives them a variety of ways to absorb it.
Yeah, that's really important. Is there a schedule, or there's programming, or tell me a little bit about that?
Yes and no is the answer. There is
Okay.
a schedule of upcoming events. And if you go to normie.org and you click on the Normie Connect drop down, and you'll see the TV channel there, Normie TV. You'll see a schedule of upcoming trainings that we do on Tuesday afternoons. We do a continuing education or recertification training every Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on normie.tv. So people can go there, they'll see ahead of time what the presentation is going to be, and they can choose to tune in or not. A lot of those broadcasts are eventually put up on our TV channel that we broadcast 24/7, and we stream audio to our radio platforms with the same information. So again, if you're driving in your car and you want to listen, you can. If you're just getting out of work or you can't make the meeting because you're traveling, you can still listen to it or watch it, depending on what is more comfortable for you. And again, it's all about connecting with the listeners. And that's the hardest part because people are so busy. So we try to make it 24/7 available.
Off topic a little bit with Normie TV. I know you mentioned that there's continuing ed credit lectures or course curriculum that's up there. This is a crazy question, but if I can't make it live, or Normie members that need that continuing ed credits, if they can't make it live, can they still watch it and then somehow log their hours in where we'd be able to get the credit for it?
Yes, they can. And that's a function of the restricted area that we have for active Normie members. We require so many continuing education credits or recertification credits every year to keep those certifications active. And we try to stay consistent with like requirements of some of the other states, like Florida, for instance. They require 14 continuing education credits every 2 years to keep the license active and be able to be renewed. So we try to follow that, and we have a very large market of people that have Florida licenses all over the country, because most of the country does not require a license to do mold assessment or remediation. People are getting licensed through us in the state of Florida, not that they're going to work there, but they're at least licensed by a government entity to do that type of work. And it's giving them credibility. So we provide that training every week, 48, 49 times a year, so they can get their required credits. And they don't have to be there every week. It's only, a handful that they have to attend, but they're staying connected and they're getting the information they need under, again, Normie Connect. There's the word.
Yeah, that's important. That's super important. What states can our license? We're a licensed state of Florida remediator or assessor. What states are we allowed to use that license to by their law?
Unfortunately, even though most of the licensing laws talk about reciprocity, if you have a license in one state, you can use it in another state that requires it. None of the states have the same requirements. Different hours of training, different CEU or recertification credit requirements. Some have to be state approved, some have to be live, some have to be online. So it's all over the place as far as that goes. However, the license itself, once you have that, you're able to, especially the Florida license, you're able to apply to Washington, D.C. for their license. You're able to apply to Louisiana for their remediator license. They don't have an assessor license. Now, it's not the license that is what you're applying with. It's the training that you receive to get the license in Florida that those states are looking for. New York is completely independent. They have their own curriculum. We're approved to teach it. We've taught quite a few of the New York classes. Texas is also independent. They have an extremely strict training program, and it's actually the longest one. Their course is 5 days. New York's assessor is 4, their remediator is 3, Florida's remediator is 3, DC and Louisiana, they're like 3. So, that's why there's a difference. However, once you get licensed and or certified through us, that type of recognition that goes along with that is what is good for the rest of the country. Again,
Good.
there is no licensing laws, but it helps, especially with insurance companies.
Oh, I bet for sure. Switching over to that Normie Pro task force, I know it brings together a team of professionals, kind of collaborate in advisory capacities, focused on environmental health. How does the Normie Connect program associate themselves with the Normie Pro Environmental Task Force? How does it all work in connection with each other?
Well, the Normie Pro Environmental Task Force is a 501c3 organization, meaning it's a not-for-profit public charity. So it's able to accept donations. People that donate to the Environmental Task Force, they're able to claim tax deductions based on its tax status. So that's an entity unto itself. Now, we have a lot of supporters through Normie, through the Environmental Task Force, through Normie Connect. Any kind of donations made through the task force is what helps us support the Normie Connect program. It's helping us fund a lot of things that we do. The funding from the Environmental Task Force goes to a lot of other things too. Like we've worked with several military bases where some of the on-base housing has been terrible as far as mold conditions. We've been able to donate air purification equipment and cleaning technologies to some of those families to help them where they've really not had any other means of dealing with the problem. That's all through the task force. And because it's a not-for-profit public charity, it gives us the ability to help do that kind of stuff.
Interesting. And how does one become a member? Is it do you guys just take applications? Do you have to be a
For the
certain
task
level
force?
of experience? Yeah.
The task force is really a function of being a Normie member. And the reason behind that is we need to ensure that the people that are involved are trained properly. Not someone that just took an online course and got the certificate the same day they got the booklet, for the training materials. So we make sure that they have met certain criteria for us if they want to be part of the task force. We do have a requirement that they take some of the FEMA training courses and produce the certifications with that. And again, this stuff is all free. It doesn't cost anything for these FEMA courses. Actually, they're called ICS courses or NIMS. And the whole incident command system, ICS, is what we want people to be familiar with, because under the task force, if we do any kind of reach out to a community after disaster, and there's federal or state agencies involved, especially, they all function under this ICS protocol and NIMS. And you have to understand what they're doing and why they do it. Otherwise, you're just in the way. So once you become a Normie member, once you have reached certain training levels, once you've gotten certain FEMA training, you can then be part of the task force. And if we do any reach out, if we do any on-site stuff, you're more or less invited to that. There's also some other requirements that we're doing now through, it's a federal grant through ISSA. They're like a really close partner of ours. They're the largest cleaning organization in the world. And we're doing something called Cleaning for Health. It's a basic training that's provided for free to people wanting to take this course, funded by federal grants. And we're teaching this in multiple states, multiple locations. I know we just went through the first pilot program and we surpassed the requirements of the grant greatly by the amount of people that we were able to train just on the first go round. So there'll be more coming. And that's all of the training that we want people to have, whether they're going to be on the task force, whether they're going to be doing their own home remediation or working as a contractor.
Very cool. Very cool. So I know you guys have a lot of going on, you and your team for sure. Can you give me and the viewers a little insight in what the future holds for Normie Connect specifically?
We use a term, and I don't know if you've heard it. We say Yasni. Sounds like a made-up word. Well, it kind of is, but the letters stand for you ain't seen nothing yet. We're we're always deploying new things and expanding on stuff that we have out there. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about right now. We have a lot of things that hopefully by the end of the year will start to become public, at least through the Normie organization, of expansions and other things that we're doing. I mean, new stuff alone, just under the Normie Connect. I mean, we started with broadcasting on one streaming TV platform. We now, especially when we do our Tuesday trainings, we're broadcasting on 15.
Wow.
We're on 13 podcast platforms and 3 radio platforms now. So we're always adding. We're always trying to reach out to more. We're adding new trainings. We're bringing in more instructors to do specialized training. Like an example would be Michael Pinto teaching on sensitized individuals, which a few years ago was 5% of the population. They're estimating now it's 20+% of the population are classified as sensitized individuals. So we're training on that stuff. And that's all new and it's all coming. And Normie Connect gets that information out to people. Matter of fact, this coming Tuesday in October, I believe it's the 17th, we're going to be doing an interview that Michael Pinto just did with us on mycotoxins. Big buzzword in the industry now, how it affects sensitized individuals. That's going to be broadcast at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central next Tuesday, which would be the 17th of October. And that'll be out on all the platforms for the public, for the contractors. It'll be out there. And that's the whole purpose of doing that, getting all this new information out to people.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of him explaining the mycotoxins, and I know myself being in the industry, a few of my clients have severe mycotoxin poisoning where we were able to link the levels in their body and their blood to the contamination in the air. And it was quite interesting to see how now the doctors want to play with that. And, it causes serious effects that most people really don't know of. So it's definitely a scary thing. One last question for you. And I know, again, being a Normie member and involved with Normie, and my colleagues out there who are also involved, I know sometimes it gets overwhelming with all the features and the information on the Normie site. To be specific, so when they listen, how can they find the Normie Connect?
Well, the easiest way to get to it is normieconnect.com. We have a direct link right to it, takes you to the area where it will introduce you to areas to access the TV, the radio, the app, the podcasts, excuse me, all in one place. And going to normieconnect.com is a great place to start. However, like you had said, there's so much information that it can sometimes be overwhelming. Don't let that happen, because we also use a lot of technology, and don't let that frighten you away. Don't fear the technology, embrace it, because it's going to be there, kicking and screaming. We all have to go in that direction. But we try to make things as simple and user-friendly as possible. And if you ever have a question, you pick up the phone and you call us.
There you go. And that's it. So is there anything, Lance, that you want to touch base on having the public and Normie members kind of give me one insight in your head? I know you mentioned a million of them, and I get it, but one main important topic of Normie Connect and why people need to log in, why they need to have that app, and why they need to follow it. One big main focus.
Meaningful and realistic information. That's the easiest way to describe it. If you go to normieconnect.com, you're going to get options right in front of you to choose how you would like to receive information or view information or participate in training and information without having to search all over the place. And the information you're going to get is what's been accepted by insurance companies, accepted by the states that require licensing to work in this industry. And that's where the credibility comes from. Somebody didn't just sit around and think something up and say, hey, let's talk about this. It's all stuff that's backed by industry standards. It's part of professional practices. It's right there.
That's great. Well, Lance, I thank you for your time. All the listeners, there you have it. A little glimpse into the future of healthy living, innovative Normie Connect platform. It's been great speaking with you, Lance. I appreciate it. Until next time, we'll keep everybody updated. Keep striving for a healthier tomorrow. Keep breathing, and I know Normie and Normie Connect to make the world and this industry a little bit better, one breath at a time. So for now, my name is Paul Lutwin. I'm going to sign off, and Lance will be in touch. And I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Paul, for having me.
You got it. Thank you.
And we're back. Hopefully you're all able to see and hear that, at least listen to it if you're on the radio platform. I think Paul did a really good job with that. He wants to get into this podcasting world, and I think he made a real good shot with it there. And you know what? It helped explain a lot about what Normie Connect is. We have gotten quite a few questions about it recently, and hopefully that helped. Tim, did you notice any questions or anything as we're going through that?
I didn't see anything, Lance.
Okay. Well, we're not monitoring any of the chat sessions on all the other platforms today, so it would only be from questions here within our group. All right. Well, if there are no questions here in our group, I'm just going to move forward and see if we have any announcements on classes. I mean, we can do that while we're still open to the public. So, Tim, why don't you take that?
Yeah, thanks, Lance. Yeah, a couple of classes we have coming up, right? One going on right now, and that is the basic CMA CMR class in Spanish in Orlando, Florida. That started today, and that runs through the 25th, and that's in Orlando. In November, we have an advanced class, and you talked about that in the interview. You mentioned that Michael Pinto and Doug Hoffman are teaching the NCRSI NCMP class on November 7th through the 9th. And that class, of course, is geared toward those individuals with sensitivities, specific sensitivities. And as we've said many times before, 20% of the population and growing are sensitized individuals. So you want to make sure that is part of your training and part of what you do as an assessor and remediator. Then the classes kind of cool off a little bit until the beginning of the year, and then we'll kick back into gear in January. We have the basic CMA CMR class again in January 17th through the 19th at our Sunrise location at the Normie Pro Academy, and that will start off the new year, and we'll be moving on from there for sure. So check those classes out at training.normie.org or at besttrainingschool.com.
Hey, Tim, I thought we were supposed to slow down towards the end of the year. You know, holidays coming and take it easy and relax.
Well, we did have 4 weeks in a row of classes back in September and October. So this is slowed down a little bit.
Okay, we'll go with that. All right. I want to remind everybody again that if you are watching on any of the social media or streaming platforms, that if you're a Normie member and you want to see the rest of this presentation today, you're going to have to go to impact.normie.org, log in as a Normie member, and you'll be in our Zoom room for what we're going to show you in a few minutes. Something new that we're releasing as a good support tool for our contractors out there. And you'll see when we get there what it's really all about. For everybody else, I want to thank you for being here on all the different platforms that you watch on. Hope you got something out of this, and you come back and join us next Tuesday. Plus, we're always broadcasting at normie.tv and radio.normie.org, or just go to normieconnect.com and you'll find us on all the different platforms that we're broadcasting on. So thank you for that. I'm going to ask all of our members to stand by a moment. It takes me about a minute to shut everything down and make sure we're just here in our own little private room, and I'll be right back. Tim, if there's any questions or anything popping up along the way, just if you can grab them, and